You are mid-sentence, making an incredibly solid point, and out of absolutely nowhere, your brain unplugs the router. You look at the other person with your mouth slightly open, doing the mental equivalent of a buffering screen. You try to play it off by taking a suspiciously slow sip of coffee, praying the rest of your thought magically downloads before the silence gets weird. We have all been caught in that internal panic. Generic advice suggests taking a deep breath or visualizing the audience in their underwear. If I visualize my manager in his underwear, I am going to need trauma counseling instead of a better vocabulary. Your hardware just crashed due to a localized biological glitch. Over the next 5 minutes, I will give you 3 research-backed emergency brakes to pull when your mind flatlines. You will never have to fake a coughing fit to escape a conversation again. To fix the glitch, we have to understand the cause. A tiny spike of social pressure, like realizing someone is waiting for you to finish your sentence, makes your brain's amygdala assume a predator is hunting you. The human nervous system struggles to tell the difference between a networking event and a tiger. Cortisol immediately floods your system and actively blocks your prefrontal cortex, the exact area storing your working memory and vocabulary. Your brain disables your Wi-Fi to send emergency power to your legs for a quick escape. You are trying to find a word, but the filing cabinet is temporarily locked. The worst thing you can do is aggressively fight the silence. We have to trick the system into turning the Wi-Fi back on. Dr. Matthew Lieberman, a psychologist at UCLA, studies a concept called affect labeling. He found that hiding a negative emotion requires a massive amount of cognitive effort. You burn up all your processing power trying to look normal, leaving zero bandwidth to actually remember what you were saying. The fastest way to fix this is to name the awkwardness out loud. Say something like, "Wow, my brain just did a hard reboot," or "I completely lost my train of thought. Let me rewind." Acknowledging the blank space instantly disarms the amygdala. The perceived threat disappears because you stopped trying to cover it up. Cortisol levels drop, and the thought usually comes rushing back a few seconds later. Thanks to a psychological quirk called the pratfall effect, people actually find you more likable when you admit a minor clumsy mistake. But in a high-stakes meeting where you can't just laugh it off, you have to pivot. A mind usually goes blank over one missing micro detail. You get tunnel vision staring at a forgotten name or a specific statistic. The longer you stare at that missing puzzle piece, the worse the panic gets. Immediately zoom out to the macro level. Jump straight to the big picture conclusion using a transition phrase like, "But the main takeaway here is," or "What this all really comes down to is." This simple bypass buys your brain time. You remain authoritative and keep talking, skipping over the specific detail that caused the crash. You just teleported to the end of your argument. This strategy works brilliantly for business presentations. For casual social interactions where the silence is making you sweat through your shirt, you throw the ball back. Conversations are essentially a game of catch. If you suddenly forget how to throw, make the other person throw again. Use the last thing they said to bounce the attention off yourself. Say something like, "Actually, before I lose my point, I want to go back to what you said a minute ago about," insert their topic. "Tell me more about how you handled that." This exploits the spotlight effect. Cornell University researchers proved we drastically overestimate how much people notice our awkward moments. The reality is, most people are just waiting for their turn to speak anyway. Bouncing the question back makes them think you are an incredibly active listener. They will happily talk about themselves for another 2 minutes, giving your brain plenty of time to cool down and fetch the information you dropped. Going blank is a biological overreaction to a harmless situation. Name the glitch out loud, zoom out to the big picture conclusion, or bounce the spotlight back to the other person. Keep the conversation moving forward, and subscribe. I never forget to remind you about that.